So it's finally official. Gautam Gambhir is the head coach of the Indian men's national cricket team. And now that the speculation has ended, Ayaz, let's get into what the future actually looks like. Now, all of you wanting masala would want to know how Kohli and Gambhir get along, given their illustrious history. But equally important is how the captain, Rohit Sharma, gets along with Gautam Gambhir. I mean, here you have a character in Rohit who's laid back, relaxed, serious, yes, but still laid back and relaxed in how he goes along with his game. And then you have Gambhir, who is as intense as they come. So how do you see that relationship shaping up? And also remember that they played together for India for years, and Gambhir is only 5 years older than Rohit. So do you think age will also be a factor?
I mean, it's definitely a factor, and it could be a huge advantage because you're closer to the age of your captain and most of your players, and therefore you have a greater understanding of what the modern cricketer thinks like, how he behaves, the emotional, psychological aspect, not just the technical aspect. Which sometimes, if you're much older as a coach, you might be a little detached. Your whole perspective may be different. Now, there are obviously advantages and disadvantages. So, players like, say, Rahul Dravid or coaches before him, like Ravi Shastri, they actually preferred, and even the BCCI thought that there must be a substantial, difference in age between the players and the coach, or at least a time lag between the time the coach retired and he takes over charge of the current team, so that there's no kind of the perspectives don't impinge on each other. You don't start thinking like a player and vice versa. The players don't start thinking like coaches because that might lead to conflict. So, but there are obviously advantages if you're closer in the age group. So I think that both possibilities have pros and cons. Here, I think the interesting part is, look, at the end of the day, whatever the age difference or not, and ultimately it's for the coach and the captain primarily to set up or establish a very good rapport and very early. Because if that doesn't happen, then it leads to dressing room dynamics really depend a lot on how they see the top management reacting or behaving with each other. So we saw what happened with Saurav Ganguly and Greg Chappell. It looked like a marriage made in heaven, and it collapsed within less than a year. And then we had Virat Kohli and Anil Kumble, which also looked like a formidable alliance at that point in time, but didn't just couldn't last because they didn't seem to gel. Sometimes it's not just about length of experience, the depth of understanding of the game, the achievements, but also it's about rapport as personalities, and that is something that Gautam will have to obviously forge with Rohit Sharma, because now it's clear that Rohit is going to be the captain for Test matches as well as ODIs. So primarily, the task for Gambhir and for Rohit is to find, sort of come on the same page, much as Dravid and Rohit did, and before that, Shastri and Kohli did.
Yeah. So we should also talk about the support staff that will help Gambhir in this mission. So there have been reports that Gambhir wanted the likes of Jonty Rhodes and Ryan Descartes as part of the setup, but apparently the BCCI shot down the request. So what do you make of this BCCI policy of not having foreigners, like focusing only on Indians as part of the support staff and as coach? So do you think it's a bit of nationalism, or do you think it's purely professional?
No, I think it's largely professionalism. I don't think there's nationalism involved in this, because you have in many parts of Indian cricket foreigners there as coaches, maybe even in the IPL. But remember, the IPL is a domestic tournament. And while team owners have the right to go and choose whoever they want for the coaching assignment or support staff, I think the coaches themselves prefer to get support staff who they can identify with better, they perhaps played with, and who understand local players and conditions and mindsets much better. For instance, I don't think that the BCCI would have refused Rahul Dravid the kind of support staff whoever he wanted, but Rahul Dravid chose Paras Mambre and continued with Vikram Rathod.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot. And Ravi Shastri actively chose Bharat Arun, remember.
Yeah.
So I think the chief coach or the head coach also, in his own calculation, now works out what will work best for the team as well as for him, because you don't want tugs and pulls in different directions because of lack of understanding or a gap in understanding of the Indian cricketers.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll get back to you after we find out who's there, because the point you were making, I think Descartes has worked with Gambhir at KKR. Maybe some considerations were there, but we don't know what the BCCI's plan is. And Hopefully, they will gel together, and that's all we can say at this point. But moving on from Gambhir, one former cricketer, to one cricketer who's going to be a former cricketer either today or tomorrow. That's Jimmy Anderson, of course. So we've already said goodbye to him when he first announced his retirement. So I guess this is the final time to say so. Now he's likely to not beat Shane Warne's record. I think he can take only 4 more wickets and he'll end up with 707. But what a man and what a career, huh?
Oh, absolutely. What a career. And you know, look, Shane Warne's record, so to speak, is only just a milestone because beyond Shane Warne is Mutaya Muralitharan. And then, you know, that's a long way off. So, but I think the real achievement for Jimmy Anderson is, you know, multiple aspects, multiple dimensions to his extraordinary career. Longevity is one of them. The success, consistent success over 21 years is fantastic because, and remember, he's a fast bowler. Generally, you'll find spinners lasting this long. I think the only other fast bowler I can recall offhand who had a very long career, maybe 20 years or something, was perhaps Imran Khan. And Imran Khan started at the age of 18, 19, you know, in 1971, played till 1992. So, you know, that's one career which comes to my mind of a fast bowler. You've got a lot of spinners. You've got Mutaya Muralitharan, Shane Warne, who had very long careers. But for a fast bowler, the fitness levels that Jimmy Anderson has sustained or maintained throughout his career has been extraordinary. I also think that one must acknowledge that compared to not just compared to bowlers from not from the subcontinent, I'm not talking of Kapil Dev or Imran Khan, and now more recently somebody like a Jasprit Bumrah or Mohammad Shami, who've taken wickets, you know, plenty in subcontinent, difficult conditions in the subcontinent. But overseas fast bowlers coming here and making such a huge impact, which Jimmy has done, Jimmy Anderson, in Sri Lanka a couple of years back, in India. He may not have taken 20, 25, 30 wickets in a series, but he's made some really impactful performances. I remember in 2013, the series that England actually won, and Monty Panesar and Graham Swan justifiably got a lot of credit and kudos for, you know, kind of outshining the Indian spinners. But there were a couple of match-winning spells put up by Jimmy Anderson. I remember one in Calcutta where he bowled superbly and getting the ball to reverse swing, and that's where they clinched another win. So I think Jimmy Anderson's career is fantastic because he's had virtually no breakdowns. You know, for somebody who's bowled for so long, for so many years, for so many overs, to maintain that level of fitness and ambition, that focus is something that, you know, is I can't find too many parallels.
Yeah. So yeah, finally, thank you, Jimmy. And lastly, there is a T20 series going on. India is playing Zimbabwe, and they're ahead 2-1 at the moment after a shock defeat in the first game. So from there are 2 more games to come. So from the 3 matches that you've seen, Ayaz, do you find anything interesting popping out?
I think there's a lot of competition amongst the players to come good. I mean, everybody knows in the sense that there are three places open in the Indian team now with the retirement of Rohit, Virat, and Jadeja. So, you know, and most of the players who are in Zimbabwe have either played or been on the cusp of playing for India. And now they need to consolidate their places. So I think that's been the competition. I mean, between Shubman Gill and Yashasvi Jaiswal and Abhishek Sharma, and, you know, in the top order slots, 1, 2, and 3 is where these guys want to get in. And then there are the fast bowlers, you know, Khalil Ahmed, Avesh Khan, looking to get in. Shami is still injured. Remember, he's not back in the Indian team. So there are opportunities available there, and so on. So I think Zimbabwe is not a formidable opponent, but they won the first match. And T20, as we know, can be very topsy-turvy. So these are opportunities. And remember, there's a new coach coming in. He'll be looking very intently, Gautam Gambhir, as to what's happening. Yeah. It's not just about his relationship develops with Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma, that is of the crux necessarily. It is important, of course, but also how he susses out young talent and mentors them and gets them to be meaningful contributors in the Indian team.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And we'll get back to you after the series wraps up. So that's it for this episode of Sportsroom. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Anirudh. Take care. Cheers.